Hola queridos campuseros y campuseras, bienvenido a Campus Party 2021. Les quiero contar que con el equipo hemos preparado un contenido maravilloso, no se lo pueden perder. Y recordarles que este año estamos celebrando nuestra 10ª edición de Campus Party en Colombia, de este maravilloso encuentro. Los espero, bienvenidos.
Bienvenidos a Campus Party.
Hola a todos, bienvenidos a Campus Party.
Bienvenidos a la 10ª versión del Campus Party en Colombia.
Bienvenidos a la 10ª versión del Campus Party en Colombia.
Bienvenidos a Campus 2021.
Vive Campus Party Colombia, 2ª edición digital, la plataforma que conecta a todas las generaciones con los sectores productivos del país para impulsar y dinamizar el ecosistema de innovación y contribuir con los objetivos de desarrollo sostenible.
Bienvenidos a Campus Party.
Es tiempo de ponernos la camiseta e ir juntos por la reactivación de Colombia. Vive Campus Party Colombia, 2ª edición digital.
Bienvenidos a la 10ª versión
del Campus Party en Colombia.
Bienvenidos.
Bienvenidos a la 10ª versión de Campus Party en Colombia.
Vive Campus Party Colombia, 2ª edición digital. Bienvenidos.
Buenas noches, campuseros y campuseras, bienvenidos a este espacio. Nosotros estamos muy orgullosos y muy contentos de este próximo invitado. Ahorita vamos a escuchar a Guy de Joncken. Él es el presidente de la Comisión Nacional de Estados Unidos para los clubes, centros y asociaciones de la UNESCO. Es el director ejecutivo del centro de la UNESCO Center for Peace. De hecho, en este momento estamos aquí en Washington, aprendiendo muchísimo de él. Además, él es un activista social y social muy importante. Entonces, pues nada, aprovechen mucho y pues Guy, te paso el computador.
Oh, thank you so much, Elise. It is an honor and a privilege for me to join you tonight from the UNESCO Center for Peace Summer Program. As many of you may not know, we are happy to have a member of Campus Party here with us, Elisa, who has been an active member of one of the best programs we ever put together, getting students, the youngest, this one is 11 years old from Colombia, and all the way to 20, 21, coming together to talk about peace, talk about science, technology, and mathematics. So it's for me a real pleasure to join you during this intense time because it's very extremely busy here. But I want also to see this opportunity to say congratulations to you because I was just told that you got the world innovative competition. So congratulations to you because that shows that the work that you are been doing is really making a difference around the world. I remember when I met Elisa, I was in Bucaramanga and there was a competition where there were some young people coming from all over the region, Santander, the region of Santander. Uh, and when I saw what was happening there, I just could not help but to reach out, and she wanted to talk to me, and I realized that the amazing job that you are all doing. So I just want to commend you, and we are actually exploring for opportunity to work together from now on. So you will be an integral part of what we do, and we will be here also to support you. So congratulations. So today, the topic at hand is something that is dear to my heart. We live in a time where people seem to know that, some seem to think that there's nothing like the truth. Misinformation is all over the place. And unfortunately, the United States, my country, under the previous administration, the Trump administration, misinformation became the norm. In order to be accepted, you have to renounce science. You have to adopt an ideology that will worship people and not fact. And that has led the world towards a very dangerous path. We are recovering, bouncing back from COVID-19, and it is to be noted that if many of the leaders from around the world believe in science, we will not be losing the 4 million plus human beings that we lost. If they believe in science, if they have a scientific mind, things would have been totally different. And that's why I really cherish, I really like the topic we'll be talking about, scientific mind. What makes someone a scientist? What is a scientific mind? And I would like from the get-go to explain that yes, not all scientists have a scientific mind, but to be a successful scientist, you need to have a scientific mind. But not all those who have a scientific mind are scientists. Okay, you could have a science. I even think that it's very important. It doesn't matter what you want to do, that is politics or art and everything else. Having a scientific mind help you be successful in anything you attempt to do. So, what makes a mind a scientific mind? When I agreed to discuss this topic, I started thinking about our ancestors. We know human beings have been on this planet for a very, very long time. We've created societies, some more or less successful. Throughout the years, we have shaman, we have guru, we have different society gave people that were able to explain the world a different name. And for me, having a scientific mind is simply start by curiosity. So for me, having the first point in having a scientific mind, and show many people like, what are you talking about? Is to be brave enough to know that we don't know much. And that is not easy, especially when people respect you. When people come to you and ask you questions, we tend to want to give the answer. But someone that has a scientific mind, I'd say for me, the first point is that he knows that he doesn't know that much. It challenges all the assumptions be made. I'll take an example. Before Galileo, we all know who Galileo was, right? Before him, it was accepted that there was something called darkness. During the day, darkness was kept somewhere, right? And then during the night, darkness was sent over so that people could go to bed. Mm? And a lot of people tend to believe that the world was flat. Mm. Until this man came on, Galileo. He developed all this gadget to look at the universe. And he dared to come and revolutionize. He dared to tell people at the time that, you know what, the earth is actually turning around the world and not the other way around. Before that, it was common sense that the sun rises and the sun sets. And we still say that today, even though we know the reality. And I'm using this to show how the scientific mind works. So the scientific mind knows that it doesn't know much. And secondly, even though the only way for us to make sense of the world, to interact with the world, is through our senses, the eyes, the ears, the nose, the taste. These are the only way for us to make sense of the world. But at the same time, we know that this sense cannot tell us the truth. And I can see some people say, what are you talking about? Yes. When we say the sun sets, the sun rises, and for a longest time that was accepted, even today. You could take someone and say, the sun rises where? From the east, right? In the morning, show him that's the east, right? You see how the sun is rising from the east, and then it's moving toward, and in the evening the sun sets in the west. That's what our senses are telling us. But so that seems to be so obvious, right? If you were to try to challenge people on that, yeah, people say, case closed. The sun rises and the sun sets. But the scientific, even though that's what we see, that's what we feel, the scientific mind will say, that may be what I'm seeing, that may be what I'm feeling, but let's still test the theory and know if that is true. Okay, so the scientist also is someone that does not join the group. It's the peer pressure is something that has actually damaged some of the best scientists in the world, because they see something and it's so scary. Imagine Einstein, came out with the relativity. I remember all the British were against him. How dare you? Newton explained to us how the world works. You have gravity. That's the only thing. You are coming with this nonsense. You are a Jew. It was all kind of nonsense, because he was coming with an idea that totally was changing the world as we know it. So a scientist is someone that actually dare to say, I'm sorry to tell you that, but this is what I see. Right? Our senses may be telling us something, but unfortunately that's so. The scientist, first of all, he knows he cannot be right all the time. Even the things that seems obvious to you, he has to still test and challenge it. And then he does accept things for granted. And when he come out with a theory, that theory, and is validated, then he can stand by that. Many of them actually have to pay the ultimate price. Like I was telling you, Galileo, right? He was humiliated. He was stopped from teaching. He ended his life in house arrest. Today, what he was saying is the truth. So having a scientific mind could be dangerous. And Plato also said the same thing. I don't know how many of you have learned about the myth of the cavern, where the thing we see is illusion. The reality is beyond that. And some of us who have a scientific mind that are able to explain some of those things, when we come back to the society and try to explain, we become a danger. And because the scientists disrupting our world order. And because of that, many have been put to death, persecuted. So having a scientific mind can lead to your downfall. Not because you're not telling the truth, but because people around you sometimes, are not as understanding. So these are some of the things that I think are the foundation for the scientific mind. So now, what is the scientific method that make scientists a science. Even before talking about that, I had a professor, Henry and Christopher Fry and Henry Lieberman from MIT that I work very closely with. We've been buddies for at least over a year, and we talk about the role of science and making peace. And there's something that I say all the time that I find amazing about science and scientists. And it's the fact that talk about any other things. You talk about the United States. Yes, United needs a government to function and be relevant, right? And that government is made up by the president, by the assembly, by the member of parliament, and all these things. They are the ones speaking on behalf, and they are the one, whether they're right or wrong, when they speak on behalf of the United States. But talk about religion. The Muslim world, someone, their leader wrote in the Quran what you have to do to be a Muslim. You don't have to discuss that. It's not a question of you accept it if you want to be a good Muslim. If a Catholic, you have the Pope, that's the head of the institution. But the amazing thing is that for science, there's no Pope. But science is the one thing that has stood fast, that has helped us from the moment the first human being stood on his 2 feet until today. You can go through the history, whether it's Darwin or Galileo or standing Plato, on all these people there, and the system didn't accept what they were saying lightly. So science is a very unique discipline because it doesn't have a pope that make a decision that from today we are going to this is what is going to be accepted, but there's something called consensus. And why is it that science is able to kind of impose itself without necessarily having a pope or the leader that is going to divide, or a court that was some say this, some say that, we go to court for a court to decide? No, science doesn't need that. And that's why I think if the society were to run a little bit like the science was run, I think we have better society. But that's another discussion for another day. Today, we are here to talk about the scientific mind. The scientific mind has what we call the scientific method. First, you observe. And at times, we look at things we've been seeing all along, and we just accept them. Like people used to accept the sun sets, the sun rises, the sun sets here. Until Galileo says, you know what? No, there's a lot more into that. Then your curiosity is, for me, the most powerful tool in the hand of a scientist. Curiosity allows him to ask questions. Newton looking at a mango falling. Everybody's around say, oh, come on. Say, why is that mango falling? So what's wrong with you? The mango has to fall. It's been falling for thousands of years. Why are you asking that question? But a scientific mind is that, oh, even though it was accepted as a given thing, what do you know? Now, he asks that question, why is it not? And you know what happened? Then he start asking that question. The question may be an answer. And then later we come up with a concept called gravity that nobody knew anything about before. So curiosity is the tool, the most powerful tool in the hands of a scientific mind. You need to be curious, not accept things just because it's always be like that. Why is it there? And then that's how you start. After you ask the question, why, how, and then you do a research. And that research is very, very important because, again, your research is to figure out why that is happening. Why is that mango falling instead of one going up there and going left or right? No, it's going straight line. Okay, so that is after observation, observing things, asking some questions about it, do a research in that specific area. And after the research, you come up with hypothesis. Okay? And that hypothesis is actually very, very important because you have to test it and create experiments to test the validity of what you are thinking. And a real scientist doesn't fake numbers in order to achieve a result. And Einstein said you could try something, 1,000 times, just keep on looking. Because at the end you have a test with experiment to validate or reject what you're saying. And you did a test, you analyze the data in a very objective way, and then you report the conclusion, and those conclusions should be able to be verified by another scientist somewhere around the world using the same test experiment and the same data. Okay, so that for me is what a scientific mind is all about. As a scientist, we are curiosity. We do not accept things just because that's how things are. We know that our senses, even though they are the only way allowing us to understand the world the way it is, they do not always tell us the truth because we have biases. I remember coming from a country where we eat a lot of spices. Their food, you'll see a little boy, 1 year, 2 years, eating some spices. And you go to another country, you see someone, you try to get it just one tenth of that spice, someone there will, you have to call 911 and take them to the hospital because, oh my God. And so when we say, oh, it's good, what does that mean? Right? Again, that's why our senses are actually biased. We cannot understand something in the abstract. It's always a result of our culture, our background, how we were raised, what we were taught when we were little ones. So all those things allow our senses to interpret things in a very different way. Only the scientific man could say, okay, yes, I know that's what I've been told since the birth, but test that hypothesis and see if that's actually what it is. And when you do through the process, anyone who is also a scientist could get the same set of data, create the same conditions, should have the same results. And that's why the scientific mind is actually the mind that has helped us leave the trenches, the bushes, and be successful and be here. The Homo sapiens, the other species, as we study the history, all other species, subspecies of human beings have disappeared. But we are Homo sapien. I think we've been able to, we've been successful in conquering nature, in progressing because of the scientific mind. We've seen other species, animal, who are very, very intelligent. We talk about intelligence, but we are yet to see them. And I'm saying, when I say Karl Marx, we say, oh, he's a Marxist. No, but you have to read from anywhere. But Karl Marx once said that the difference between the worst architect and the bee is that the architect first conceive the house or the structure he's going to build in his house, in his mind, before trying to implement it and create it. Meanwhile, the bees knows how to do the same thing, and again, it doesn't think. It's just, again, they've been taught to do things certain way, and they keep doing it again and again, and that's the difference. So a scientific man is the one that questions why. Why is this like that? Why should we accept this? And that is why, again, the first human being used to live out there, right? And imagine if we didn't find a mechanism to understand the world, to make sense of what's going around us. We say it's hot. What does that mean? Sometimes someone may say it's hot. I may not feel hot, but let's find a way to make it in a very objective way, so that when we say it's hot, we don't know what that means. And then we say today it was 90 degrees Celsius or 50 degrees Fahrenheit, 90 degrees Fahrenheit or 50 degrees Celsius. I'm just choose two number. Every single person know what it means. So science has the capacity of turning and making the difference between what is objective and what is subjective. I know these two terms also sometimes are not well understood. When I say I feel cold, okay, it may be below zero. The temperature may be below zero, right? Someone may come, sit next to me and say, I don't feel that cold, I feel warm. Those are subjective. But if we both look at the temperature and read the thermometer, we have an objective data that nobody could discuss. And I think that's what science, the scientific mind, is all about. The scientific is about going past the subjectivity, going past how we feel and how we think we know certain things, but about something that could be accepted because it's based on evidence, based on data, and things that does not depend of our understanding, our mood, our culture, our traditions. So that's scientific mind. So what's the point? Figure out what is scientific mind. In a world like today, especially after what we've learned from the COVID-19, the data suggests with the new variant that's coming, the Delta variant as we all call it, 97% of those who are victims right now are people that do not have vaccination. And why many of the people are not vaccinating? Yes, many of them do not trust science. And it's very, very unfortunate because science is the one thing that brought objectivity. And it has nothing to do with feelings. It has nothing to do with where we stand, what we believe. You could be a Muslim, you could be a Christian, it does not matter. When you adopt scientific method, you go, you follow the truth with capital T where it takes you. So, in conclusion, I would like to summarize what I just stated. What makes a scientific mind is first of all curiosity. Okay, having the capacity of questioning the things that everybody around you thinks are to be accepted. It's obvious. There was a time when people didn't believe that there were particles that we couldn't see until people had microscope. Those of the people challenging the validity of the COVID vaccine are saying that, no, it used to take years, 10 years to get vaccine. How can you do a vaccine in one day? And I say to them, guess what? You take 3 months to go from Europe to America. You want to go back there? Things are changing. Things are moving. And thanks to the scientific mind. So I would like all of us to start adopting the way science moves. Consensus. Objectivity. And more importantly, when you have data, we have data supporting the decision we are making. We don't make data just based on what we are feeling, what we think is happening, but based on something that's concrete. This way, we can share. When we see some of the best civilization that ever existed, the Egyptian civilization, the Inca civilization, the Aztec civilization, these people, yes, even though they did not have all the technology we have, they had science. They were very good mathematicians. And they have been able to do things that even today we are still wondering how they were able to get some of these huge to build the pyramids, right? So the only way to understand that, the only way to have a better life is to believe in science, is to make sure that we respect science, we develop a scientific method, and the search for truth with capital T, as I say, remain the most important thing in our life. If we do so, we are serving ourselves, we are serving our family, we are serving our community, we are serving the world. Thank you very much. Okay, so I don't know if you have some question and answers. I'm available, and I hope these few words are very helpful. Thank you.
Hi everyone. si alguien tiene preguntas, pueden escribirlas en español y yo las puedo traducir. Pero pues sí les recomiendo que aprovechen, o comentarios que quieran mandarle o decirle a Gui también. Estamos aquí listos para escucharlos. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much, Gui.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you. I actually was like hearing you, and I agree with everything that you say. I'm really, I think that we are in synchrony with everything in all of this.
Thank you.
So can you put some
Question if people have questions
or commentaries? Yeah, well, you have a lot of.
Wow.
I believe this is French, and
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know French.
Good vibes.
Yeah.
Ana Maria, I say good vibes, and okay, I think everyone can be a scientist. Yes, I thought that. Yes, curiosity is a.
So we have this question from Joanna Lopez. What would you say who don't trust in vaccines tech?
Okay, I think there's one number. If that doesn't scare you and get you to start to think again, I don't think what else will. Right now, the study in the United States shows that 97% of people that are now suffering are the people that did not take a vaccination. Okay, so that tell you that they are the ones that are getting sick to the level that some are in losing their lives. And so there's a direct correlation between being vaccinated and suffering. Yes, once in a while we have people that got vaccinated may test again positive and things like that, just like that. I like to, the other day someone was telling me, what, someone got vaccinated. Say, oh yes, you know what, I think we shouldn't go on the road because someone is an accident right now as we are speaking. So because someone is an accident doesn't mean you don't go to the road. No, things happen, right? But overall the data suggests that those who have vaccination are protected. None of them is getting sick seriously and things like that. And those who are not are getting sick seriously. So that alone is a number that every single person should really think seriously. The other aspect is that there is no downside. Of course, you have to talk to your doctor, talk to your family, because some people have reaction, things like that. But at the end of the day, science is very objective, and those who are totally vaccinated are safe. The data is there to support that.
Yeah. Well, Maria Paula Barbero have this question. What? How do you create opportunity? What do you have? Do you have here? Like this one, maybe.
Okay, creating opportunity again. It goes down to something that actually has nothing to do with science. It's about the fact that we are here down here. Many of you are watching me from Colombia. Has anyone already made a request to be born in Colombia? I don't think so. Okay, I was born in Cameroon. I have no clue. I have no choice. So, despite the fact that there are things that we have no control on, we have the power to know how our life is going to end. Okay, we don't know how long we are going to live on this earth, but we have the responsibility, okay, to use the time you have to do something that I think is meaningful. And the way we do is to, what I say, find our purpose. Okay, you find our purpose means that the reason for you to live, because if you don't have a purpose, you could live a very boring life. But you have a purpose, even when you have challenges, you have a mission. I'm here for some reason. I'm here for something. Okay? And that's something that you find is the thing that is going to motivate you, even when things are difficult. So we all have different skills. Okay? Some are scientists, some are like literature, some are artists, some are this. But to create an opportunity, look inside you, see the things you are good at, and then find a way to empower other people around you. I tell everybody I want to listen that I feel I'm the luckiest man in the world today. Why? Because I have a team of young people. Anybody could come here and see how they put this program together, having young people from around the world. And the 90% of these young people came to this program as delegates. And now they're coming and giving back. So it's about finding your skill building your own village. And I like I say that all the time in my conferences. In the past, we have a village, physical village. We have no choice who was our neighbor was because our parents choose a house, we were built, and all the people are the one around it. Or today, you have the possibility of creating your own village online. I'm reaching out to you from a distance. So let's create our own village of people that believe in us. People that are going to support us. People that are going to complement us. Because when you do that, you create opportunity. Just like I created this summer program with people that are committed, that see the dreams I have, and I say, okay, yes, I want to be part of that dream. We all have a dream. Let's bring all our come together and get dream shine. Today you help me my dream. Tomorrow I help your dream, and then everybody at the end of the day share the dream, and then we all happy. Thank you.
Well, here there is a lot of comments here for you. The Ana Maria is saying you are so inspiring. I agree. You are one of the very people more inspiring that I know. Marlene Romero, that is the CEO of the owner of the Campus Party in Colombia. She's saying for you, thank you for your intervention. It was wonderful. Koru Rock have a question.
Okay.
What do you think is the next big challenge for humanity after COVID-19? We will have hope.
First, the challenges are around. I think some said COVID actually got the humanity as a whole to take a break and think about some of the most challenging issues besides COVID. Now, before when the COVID came, we didn't know what it was, and then but thanks to the scientists, we now have a vaccine. Unfortunately, again, you just have these disparities between wealthy countries like the United States, where we are right now. I told you for this program, the health department will be coming here on Sunday to vaccinate everybody here at one. That's unfortunately in many countries you don't have that luxury. So I'm just saying that disparity for me between the have and the have not, the wealthy and the less wealthy, for me actually is more dangerous than anything else, right? So it is. I even think some of the people that are wealthy that it is if in their own interest to make sure that the gap between the have and the have not reduces, because it's bring the equilibrium to the whole universe as a whole. If you keep having that disparity, it's unsustainable. Okay, so inequality and the fact that poverty around the world, those for me are the biggest threat to peace in the world. That said, it's very obvious. You saw the sustainable development. People used to think that global warming was something that's going to happen in a couple of decades. Just open your eyes and see how the forests are burning, and see the heat, and see what's happening. So if we as human beings don't do something serious on the environmental issue, there's no future. And some people take for granted that the Earth is going to be there all the time. Why do you think Bezos and Virgin Galactic are trying to go to space? I don't think that's going to help them. So we need to do whatever you can, first of all, to again disparities and make sure that we don't have the gap between the have and not have does not keep growing. But more importantly, to know that we preserve this Earth, this beautiful Earth that we inherited from the previous generation. If we don't do that, we will be doomed. And I think that's one of the major issues that the planet is facing.
Yeah. Violeta Chamorro is asking, could you please give a message to the youngest with scientific initiation?
Okay, the message is very, very simple. Be curious. Okay, curiosity is what is going to help you make a difference for you and for the people around you. Today, we are using TikTok, we are using iPhone, we are using all that. All that is science and technology. Okay, you don't just have to be someone that's using it. All of us can create. We have the capacity of creating. And don't let people tell you that you cannot do this, you cannot do that, because you have in you the power. We grew up not knowing what computer was, right? Today you have a multiplayer. The computer is there as a tool to allow you to kind of leapfrog. We call it leapfrog. You don't have to go through the same mistake we did, but you can literally overnight become a scientist. Overnight you can publish something, you could learn. Today there's how to on the internet. But unfortunately, again, when I was talking about disparity, that's maybe I mentioned some few things, but the other thing is that there's a part of the world that has internet 24/7. You could do research and things like that, but unfortunately, in that part of the world, that people don't have access to internet. Even university don't have access. That's again, when I was talking about the disparities, I was talking, those are the kind of things. So today, let's be creative. Let's find that purpose that I was talking about. You find a purpose and find something to do to make the world a better place. And the scientific method, like I told you earlier, the scientific method allows us to move forward, regardless. It doesn't matter the religion, your sex, where you are coming from. What is objective is objective. The reality is there. You could be wearing a burqa, you could be whatever. You do the same thing I did under the same constants, use the same data, you're going to have the same result. So young people, please don't spend all your time just using technology. Spend some time trying to understand technology, and before you know it, you might be the next Einstein, you might be the next Galileo. Again, there's something that I sometimes say that's kind of strange. In 1919, at the end of the 19th century, after the revolution, scientific revolution, we all created all these scientific revolution. We had the first car, we have the plane and all these things. There's someone that was that was the patent office, the head of the patent office. See, at the end of 19th century, oh my God, I don't know what human beings are going to be doing in the 20th century, because everything that was going to be created was created already. Yeah. We're not talking about someone that was cooking but the head of the patent office thought that in the 20th century, people will spend their time just, having fun, because everything that needed to be created was created in the 19th century, because you have the revolution. I would like to wake up to that guy today and ask him to see iPhone, ask him to see all the technology you have here. Again, I'm using that, and some people also say this. I don't know how true it is. Anyway, I'm not going to use the name, but say human beings are using 1/10 of the capacity of our intellect. I tend to believe that. I don't know how that's true or not, but I tend to believe so. You, young people, have the capacity of moving for that 1/10 to maybe 50%, and just wow, nobody have any idea how that's going to be. So be curious.
Oops.
Yes, be curious. Build a network around you. It does not matter how smart you are. None of us is as good as all of us. Okay? So build your team. A team of people, not the people that always agree with you. People that challenge you. Even sometimes we learn from those who don't like us, who are always trying to poke fun of us, show us the bad things we do, because they actually help us be perfect. Okay, even though I say that humans they cannot be perfect, but we are perfectible, always going towards perfection. And those are some of the things that I think is good for young people to aspire, because again, it's not just about using technology, about inventing, creating, and I know you have the power to do that.
So I have a final question. Can I ask you a question?
Okay. Go ahead.
How do you think as a population we can demand the science to become political, for be a tool, actually a tool to construct peace?
Okay, there are a couple of ways to look at that. Look at the United States, a country where we have a strong system of government. It's still very challenging to have scientists. We have a senator, a member of the Parliament of the United States. Let me just put it like that. One day he was going through the Parliament. He became a genius, and he said, "Oh my God, this global warming, these people are talking about it. They are crazy." You know what? He was going through. He realized there was some snow out there. He grabbed some snow and came to the Parliament and said, "Oh guys, I'm a genius. Look at this. There's no global warming because I have some ice cube in my hand." So these are the people running the country, the United States of America. So if you have people like that running one of the most powerful country where science and technology has made its way, it's very difficult in other places. So I'm just saying this: we all have a responsibility in a country where we have a say in who gets in power to make sure that we don't get people that are anti-science. Science, like I said earlier, doesn't have a guru, doesn't have a pope. It imposes itself to all. You may refuse to believe that COVID-19 will kill you, but it's going to do that. So what we need to do is to organize ourselves. And again, I have another amazing friend, Josh, that made a presentation, Peace Without Authorization. The New World Order created in after the Second World War, we created all these amazing institutions, the United Nations, the World Bank, and all those things. And and their job was to prevent terrible things from happening because countries have to be peace. We know today that it doesn't work, and we should grab peace without authorization. I am a social justice activist, and I'm activist, and I'm very proud to be activist because I understood something that is not general knowledge right now. Peace and solution is not going to come from those in power for this big institution. They are there for a reason. The United Nations has prevented from having Third World War, but we, the people, have the responsibility to create the next world order. And this technology that we're having today should allow us to do that. Unfortunately, there are people that don't want it to happen. That's why they're having disinformation and getting us to one against another. But I am very, very sure that let's just start in a small nucleus. That's why I created I came up with a concept called Peace Land, where 20 people anywhere around the world can come together and create their peace land village. Okay, we don't need to be 100 or 20 to make things happen. And then that small village, you can create zones of peace around the world. And we create those zones of peace, we could actually have an impact. Because the unfortunate thing is that you have those who actually are really agent of change, but those in government find a way to kind of, instead of empowering you, they create situation to make your life difficult. But and they are succeeding because we most of the time are waiting for them to do something to help us. But the day we are going to think that the power is in our hand, we are going to do better. So let's just grab that power we have in our hand and do things. Yeah. We're talking about peace without authorization. I don't need someone's authorization to create peace around me. Thank you.
Yeah, well, we have more questions, but I believe that's all the time that we have. I don't know if you want to answer at least one more.
Maybe one more.
Okay, well, Santiago Ojeda is asking you, do you believe that it is possible to reach peace in a country like Colombia? I know that you love Colombia.
That is very, very true. I love Colombia, and I've been there the last 5 years, been there quite often. It's unfortunate that the country has went through a very civil war, but I strongly believe that peace can start anywhere, even in Colombia. But again, we tend to want the government to do it. We tend to want, and the other thing that, as an activist, I like to tell people around the world, and one of my dreams, and I hope some of the people listening will help that, is to create a structure, a global structure called Activists Without Borders. Because I strongly believe that activism is what is going to save the world, not government. We need to have activists, and we've seen that in the United States. Even when we have tyrants, tyrant to be like Donald Trump, who are trying to overthrow the United States and turn it into Russia, it couldn't, because we have a lot of activists here that are able to do things. So the solution is very simple. We tend to wait 4 years and then we elect people put them in power, and wait another 4 years. Oh my God, they are terrible. We definitely have to be in the process. I took an example. I went to a city where nobody was happy. I asked them, when the last time, I say, any one of you, all of you are protesting. How many of you, raise your hand if you've been to the city hall at any other meeting in the last few years? Nobody. And that's where decisions are made that are affecting you. How many of you have been to the courthouse to see how a decision is made and then say something, write something about if they agree or disagree with the solution? Nobody. Huh? What at the state level? How many people have been to the state level to see how decision made, to let those who are elected, the governor, whatever, to say what they are thinking? We just wait and complain later. So that's exactly what we have to say. But the day we are going to understand, and that's why Activity Without Borders is going to help bring about that kind of change, that we need to get involved at the local level. For the meantime, you can forget at the presidency, okay? But if each one of us make sure that we have the right people at the city level, the system is going to fix itself. So yeah, peace is possible in Colombia, not because we're going to have a treaty, but when people understand that they don't need someone's permission to have peace. We need to be, like Mahatma Gandhi said, that change we want to see in our community.
You can come with me for the Activities Without Borders.
Okay, thank you.
Well, where I can sign.
Okay, basically.
You already have one.
Yes, definitely. I have one activist here, and then we are going to move and use all the tools that are necessary. We don't need anybody's permission. Okay, we don't need anybody. You see, at the United Nations, yes, I'm one of those advocates. If you didn't have the United, you want to create one. But at the same time, look at a country like Saudi Arabia, killing a human being in one of diplomatic and cutting him as he was meat. And the UN is like, say, okay, we all know who did it, but we lose also. So those structures that were created, they've done a lot of work. They're still doing a lot of work, but we need to find a way to create new institutions that are going to actually be human-centric. Thank you.
Well, no, thank you, because I know that you're like super busy, and thanks for having this time for us. I really, really appreciate it. I'm humbled to have you here with us. Well, thank you everyone that was here. Muchas gracias a todos. El Chip. Gracias a todos por estar, por escuchar. Espero que se hayan inspirado. Por seguro, yo estoy súper inspirada después de esto. Y pues espero que sigan conectados. Vienen muchas otras conferencias muy interesantes. Estamos en este primer día. Entonces, campuseros, campuseras, espero verlos más adelante. Chao.
Chao. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you very much.